So I had this guy hit me up on Instagram. He was coming to me asking questions about weight loss. And he told me that he was in a calorie deficit for a few weeks, I believe 6 weeks. He was going to the gym multiple times a week. I think it was 4 times a week. And I asked him, "Oh, how do you know you're in a calorie deficit?" Because a lot of people think they are, but they're not. And in this case, that is the case. But usually it's because somebody isn't logging their food. They're not weighing their food and logging it with an app. And he was actually doing that. And I was like, okay, this guy's actually serious. When somebody tells me that they have a scale and they're like weighing and logging their food in an app, that's how I know they're serious and locked in. So this video isn't to bash people saying, oh, you're just not working hard enough. No, it's just sometimes just a lack of precision and a lack of skill, lack of knowing. That's why you got to talk to people who have done it, right? And in this video, I'm going to go over a few things that people do that pretty much cancel out their calorie deficit. So I'm going to make sure that we are all on the same page here. A calorie deficit is when you are consuming less calories than your body's burning. Simple as that. So your body has no choice but to lose weight. That is not up for debate. A calorie deficit works 100% of the time. So if you're not losing weight, then you're not in a calorie deficit, no matter how badly you want to be, no matter how much you go to people saying that I tried a calorie deficit, it didn't work. Well, that doesn't make sense because a calorie deficit works 100% of the time. So in this video, I'm going to go over a few things that are either, causing you to stall out on your weight or make you think that like you're in a calorie deficit when you're actually not. So I'm going to clear that right up. So the first one and the most common is going to be that you are not tracking absolutely everything. And what I mean by that is your sauces, your drinks, butter, oil, stuff like that. A lot of people think that if they have, to keep it really simple, chicken, rice, and veggies, chicken, rice, and broccoli. Oh, I only need to track my chicken, the amount of chicken that I'm eating, the amount of rice, and the amount of veggies. Well, you likely cooked that chicken with some butter or oil. A lot of people don't track that. And it's also likely that you topped everything with the sauce. You probably didn't track that either. And then maybe you had a sugary drink that actually has calories in it. Just because it's not food doesn't mean that it doesn't have calories. It's a beverage, like it's gonna have calories in it, unless it's a 0 calorie drink, such as there's water, there's sparkling water, there are some diet sodas or zero sugar sodas that have 0 calories in them. But a lot of people don't drink those. A lot of people like to drink their juice, their regular sodas, energy drinks that are potentially over 200 calories, which is crazy to me. Just get the zero sugar ones, 0 calories or 10 calories or less typically. And it's little things like that that you are not tracking. And that is going to screw you over. You are potentially undershooting where your calories are actually at by about 500 calories, potentially even more. I don't know how you cook. A lot of people might have their oil and just like completely drizzle it on for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Right there, that's over 500 calories. There's no way that it isn't. Along with people who like to use a lot of butter. I'm not a guy. I got butter in my fridge right now. I got oil over in my kitchen right now. I use those things. I just make sure that I measure them. And I know and I'm aware that they actually contribute to the total caloric intake for the day. So that's the main thing is you have to track fucking everything. That Starbucks drink you're getting in the morning that you think doesn't count just because it's a drink, I really don't understand that. It has calories in it, so why would you not count it? But if you're getting Starbucks every single morning, you are adding 300 to 500 calories potentially to your daily caloric intake, but you're not counting it because you're like, oh, it's not my breakfast, lunch, or dinner or my snack, right? You're only tracking and logging what you want to track, if that makes sense. But really what you need to do is fully commit to it because you might get away with it for a little while, at least within the first week or two, because you are increasing your precision, right? But eventually you're going to stall out because you're going to reach a plateau is what I mean. You're going to reach a plateau because you don't have that level of precision to get you past that plateau. So you need to increase your precision by tracking absolutely everything. The next thing I'm going to talk about is sleep and stress. And I really do think that sleep and stress is highly underrated and that most people underestimate how much it actually affects your fat loss. Because when your cortisol stays elevated due to, say, chronic stress and or poor sleep, what's going to happen is that you're going to get hungrier, your cravings are going to get worse, and it's going to be a lot tougher to recover from all of your exercises. And all of those combined make it much tougher to stay in a calorie deficit. And sleep is directly tied into all of this because when you are lacking sleep, your cortisol is going to shoot up, When that happens, you have this hormone called ghrelin. Ghrelin is the hormone that makes you feel hungrier. That hormone increases, while leptin, which is the hormone that makes you feel full and satisfied, decreases. So now you are hungrier, your cravings are stronger, and you're not feeling as full. You're not feeling as satisfied after all those meals. And you can kind of see how all of those combined can make it really hard to achieve fat loss. It can make it hard to really sustain that calorie deficit. So I've talked to a lot of veterans and other hardworking men who are doing the right things. They're showing up to the gym, they're eating clean, but I ask about their sleep and they're like, oh yeah, I'm only getting about 5-6 hours of sleep. And I'm just like, that's it right there, man. Increase that by 2 to 3 hours a night and watch what happens, man. It's like magic. Real quick, guys, if you want a personalized plan that is made specifically for you, then let's have a conversation. Just hit me up, click on the Instagram link in the description, and we'll talk about where you're currently at. Let's talk about your goals, what you're primarily struggling with, and we'll put a plan together for you. All right, let's get back to it now. So here's a counterintuitive one for you. Some people may actually be in way too big of a deficit. I have had people message me saying that they are only eating 1,000 calories a day and 100 grams of protein. Grown-ass men tell me that. I'm like, dude, you are my height, my size. Why are you only eating 1,000 calories and only 100 grams of protein? That's how much protein that my wife is eating. Like, you are a grown-ass man. You need to be eating more than that. So, obviously, way too great of a deficit. And some people may be thinking, bigger deficit, more weight loss. And while there is some truth to that in the short term, in the long term, you're actually fucking yourself over, and here's why. When your deficit is too aggressive, your body starts to break down muscle for fuel. And muscle is, I'll say, metabolically expensive. And basically what that means is that the more muscle you have, the more calories you're going to burn at rest. So I could be sitting here just like this, right? Not moving really much at all, and be burning more calories than a version of me that has less muscle. Or let's say this version of me compared to a version that has 15 pounds more muscle, I'm actually burning less calories than the version of me that would have more muscle, right? So basically the takeaway from this is the more muscle you have, the more calories you are burning naturally. So when you are in a very aggressive cut, your body's sacrificing muscle for fuel. Therefore, your metabolism is actually getting slower. You are actually burning less calories while you are at rest because now you don't have as much muscle. So that deficit that you thought you had before is now probably not even a deficit anymore because you're not holding on to as much muscle, so you're not burning as many calories, so you're not as big in a deficit. You see how that kind of like fuck you up in the long term? Short term, yeah, you might lose a couple pounds. A lot of it's going to be water and muscle and fat as well. But you don't want all of those. You want specifically fat. And by the way, on top of that, very aggressive deficits will actually spike up your cortisol. That's that stress hormone. So now we're right back into the previous situation that I was just talking about before this one. The sweet spot is a 300 to a 500 calorie deficit. That is going to be slow enough, not so aggressive, in order to maintain the muscle that you have and potentially even build muscle during this cut. And it's going to be fast enough for you to actually burn fat and see progress. It'll be about 0.5 to a pound of fat burned in a week, which at first it doesn't sound like a lot. But let's say for 12 weeks you did this. So 3 months, you lost about 12 pounds of fat. So the good thing with that is that you're going to be shredding 12 pounds of fat off your body while maintaining or even potentially building muscle. Imagine what that difference is going to look like. So not only are you getting that fat off your body, you're also building the muscle at the same time. And that's how people look jacked so fucking quickly. That's why I always say that your life really is 3 to 6 months away from being completely changed. And it's because you can cut fat and build muscle at the same time. It basically expediting the process as opposed to doing a super aggressive cut. And now, yeah, you did lose some fat, but unfortunately, you lost some muscle too. So now you're just a smaller version of your previous self. So last one, and this might be the most frustrating one. And it's the number on the scale. Not really seeing it move, although you may actually be losing fat. And the reason why it may appear that you are not losing fat is because water retention is real. The stress is real. Your body holds on to water for multiple reasons. One of the reasons is going to be your recovery from your exercises. You just put your body through all of that stress. Notice how you get thirsty. Your body wants that water and it ends up holding on to that fucking water. So sometimes the weight you see on the scale, it may be inflated due to water retention, which is normal. That's why we get multiple points of data, not just the weight, but also that's why we do averages as well. So if you are weighing yourself high, like this might sound excessive, but weigh yourself every day for a couple weeks and catch a trend. So do it for 1 week first. 7 days, add all those numbers up, divided by 7. That was your average weight. That is the weight that you should go based off of. And you need to be weighing yourself under the same conditions. So what that means is same time, same clothing every single time. So the best way to do it is just to wake up in the morning, go do, or go use the restroom in the morning, and then, weigh yourself in your underwear. Or if you consistently wear, like say you wear shorts or you wear sweats every single day, then just make sure that you are weighing yourself with the same exact clothing. Maybe not the same exact pieces of clothing. You don't want to wear the same stuff every day. But say if it's for me, I do my boxers, and obviously I have multiple pairs. So I'll just weigh myself in my boxers every single day. And that's going to help you come out with averages. And then you can compare the average for week 1 to week 2. Oh, did I go up in weight or did it go down? If you went down in weight, then all those fluctuations that you saw in week 1, where it's like, oh man, I just gained 2 pounds overnight. You didn't gain, no, it's just water weight. So that's why we take averages. And if you compare the two averages and your weight actually like averaged down a little bit, then you actually did achieve some fat loss there. If it went up, then yeah, you need to tighten it up somewhere else. It's not your tracking necessarily with your weight. There is something else going on, and it's more times than not going to be your food. So again, the scale is just one data point. What you can do is take measurements of your body. Take measurements of your waist. You could take measurements of your arms, of your legs, your neck, and that could be another data point too. So you can do the scale, but also if it's lying to you and you're not liking what you're seeing and you're not sure if it's actually working or not, just use a different data point. You cannot have too much data at all, ever. You can also look at how your clothes are fitting, right? So when you have your pants on, and are they feeling a little loose? Or when you're tightening your belt, do you have to do it a little bit tighter for it to fit now? So there are all these other different data points that you can hit if your scale, it's just not reliable all the time. So here's what you actually need to do. You need to start weighing your food properly. So if you're already weighing your food, but again, going back to that story where you're doing everything correctly, but you're not losing weight, clearly there's something up with your food. And more times than not, it's people not logging everything. So oils, sauces, everything that you drink as well, your drinks as well. Obviously, unless it has 0 calories in it. But you need to add all of those up. The next thing is going to be getting some steps in throughout the day. So 10 to 15-minute walk after every single meal. When you wake up in the morning, if you have time, even a 10-minute walk, like it actually is effective because it adds up. During your breaks, find time to go walk. Whenever you have time at work to walk, then go on a walk. If you have a dog, take them on a walk. A lot of people, they just have yards and they let their dog out in the yard, and then, that's cool and all, but you will make your dog's life better you will enhance your dog's life by taking it on walks. And more times than not, you can actually use the walking as well. And then the next thing is going to be sleep. So getting 7 to 8 hours of sleep. When you don't have enough sleep, your cortisol spikes, your hormones get all fucked up, meaning that you're going to feel hungrier and you're not going to be as satisfied when you do eat, which makes it way harder for you to actually sustain an effective calorie deficit. And then not going too aggressive with your calorie deficit. So not going above 3 to 500. 3 to 500 is the perfect range for you to maintain the muscle that you have while cutting fat at the same time. Any more aggressive than that, you are sacrificing muscle. Your body is more times than not going to use your muscle for fuel. And that's not what you want, because what happens is that, yeah, if you do an aggressive cut, you will lose weight. You will lose body fat, but you're also going to be losing muscle at the same time. And you don't want to do that because you're just going to look like a softer version of your previous self when you could just do it correctly, 3 to 500 calorie deficit, shedding that fat while maintaining and or building muscle that you have. And now at the end of say 3 to 6 months, you're fucking jacked, absolutely shredded. And then the last thing is going to be tracking beyond the scale, because water retention is real. It really is. And it can be deceiving. So a way around that is just to take weekly averages of your weight, but there are other metrics that you can measure, such as measuring around your neck, around your biceps, around your thighs, around your waist, Things like that, you can go based off of other things like how are your clothes fitting? Try on a pair of pants that you had a few months ago. Do you need to go a little bit tighter on your belt? Right? So things like that. Do all 5 of those things consistently and your calorie deficit will start to work. And to keep it real, it was never fucking broken. It's just that you were doing things that were working against it. You were basically fighting against yourself. If you stayed this long throughout the video, appreciate you being here, and I hope this video helped out. If you have any questions, just drop it in the comment section. I read every single comment. And if you want to dial in numbers for your specific body, just hit me up on Instagram. I have my Instagram in the link in the description. Just click on that, shoot me a follow. I make a lot of good content about this. Shoot me a DM. I get back fairly quickly. And I appreciate you guys being here again, and I'll catch you in the next video.